Tax preparer liability. A CPA's liability for constructive fraud and fraud is broader than their liability for negligence, which makes sense. If you commit things that are worse than just negligence, negligence is the least bad out of all of these. Fraud and constructive fraud are much worse. So yeah, your liability is going to be much more broad, as it encompasses a wider range of potential claimants. Privity is not a defense to fraud, meaning which means that the liability is not limited to clients, third-party beneficiaries, or a limited class of persons who foreseeably rely on the CPA's work. We've got the levels of fault here. Now, levels 1 through 4 are civil in nature. You see here, we see only 5 is considered criminal. Essential for CPAs to understand the distinction here so we avoid potential liabilities and maintain our professional standards. Let's talk through what we're looking at here. Number 1 is reasonable care. Due care is taken in this scenario. The CPA exercises due care, is not negligent, so they're not liable for any damages. So this just gets worse and worse. So first, scenario 1, everything's fine. There's no issues. Next, lack of reasonable care. This constitutes ordinary negligence, where the CPA fails to exercise reasonable care. In this case, the CPA is liable to anyone they know or reasonably should expect will rely on their work. Next up, lack of even slight care. This level represents gross negligence or constructive fraud, where the CPA exhibits extreme carelessness or recklessness in their professional duties. Next, we have actual fraud. At this level, the CPA demonstrates an actual intent to deceive, intentionally misrepresenting facts or information. And lastly, criminal fraud. Like actual fraud, this level involves an actual intent to deceive, but carries criminal consequences as it constitutes illegal conduct warranting prosecution by the government. So what's the difference between 4 and 5 here? It's just that they decided, the government, that this was so bad that it's criminal. That's not up to us to decide, but make sure you're familiar with this hierarchy, the severity as it goes and progresses. Let's see another great old example here. Well, Johnson CPA was hired by Zara Inc. to conduct an audit of Zara's financial statements. Johnson was informed that the financial statements and the audit report were intended for Taylor, a potential investor. Following the audit, Johnson issued an audit report containing an unqualified opinion on the financial statements. After reviewing the financial statements and audit report, Taylor made a significant investment in Zara stock. Now, although Johnson exercised due care during the audit, inaccuracies in the financial statements were later discovered, causing Zara's stock prices to decline. Taylor claimed that if they had been aware of the inaccuracies, they would not have purchased the shares of stock. Will Taylor succeed in a suit against Johnson for negligence? Now, what is our answer here? The answer here is no, because Johnson exercised due care in performing the audit. Now, this question could be changed up a lot. It could ask if it could, instead of negligence, was there constructive fraud? I mean, in this case, also there wouldn't be. Was there intent to deceive? There's a lot of ways that could mirror this question. They could change it up. They could introduce new elements to it. A CPA has a duty to their client and to third parties within a limited foreseeable class of persons whom the CPA knows will rely on their work to refrain from performing the work negligently. Negligence is the failure to act with due care. Now, Johnson was hired to conduct an audit, and Johnson knew that Taylor would rely on the audit when making an investment decision. However, even assuming that Johnson owed a duty to Taylor, Johnson cannot be held liable because Johnson exercised due care, and due care is the care required. That is, exercising due care is proof of the absence of negligence. So in that case, we would not be able to prove negligence because Johnson did exercise due care. There we go. Very good. Hey there. Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material. We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.